This episode has been brought to you by Fornos Law Firm, devoted to optimizing your legal results at fornoslaw.com.
Welcome to PushRim Life After Injury Podcast. This is episode 14. I'm Ray Pizarro.
I'm Boris Del Cid.
I'm Richard Bell.
We want to welcome our audience once again to another topic of discussion here with the crew, with the PushRim crew. So today on our topic of discussion, we have a very special request from one of our members on our website on PushRim. Her name is Sally Griffin, which she brought up a very important topic that we all need to kind of chime in on and see how we dealt with it. As far as emotions, our emotional stress, how we handled it, anger management, and social loss, things of that sort. I know for guys it's a little tough to vent or show emotion when we're going through this stuff, but I'm sure when no one's looking, we go through it. So I think it's an important topic to share. So Rich, how did you handle all the emotions that went on in your mind and stuff?
Yeah, this is definitely a tough topic for us three guys here trying to undo our compartmentalization of our feelings and let everybody know what went on with us. For me, right after waking up from the medically induced coma that I had a lot of my friends were there, so they were all around. I was able to talk to them and chat it up. I guess a lot of them were trying to see how bad off I was or whatnot. Yeah, it is true that a lot of your friends will drop off. I fortunately have a really core group of friends who were very supportive and were there, to help my wife out, alleviate some of the stress she was under. And, that worked out pretty well. The things I, thought about first, believe it or not, was work. Like, I had some outstanding projects that I was worried about completing. And I'm like, man, I got to get out of this bed and go, get back to work and, take care of these things before the end of the year. And then I also had, I also was like, oh no, am I going to be able to play golf again? So, that was my thing, golf. Mm. And so,
did you feel frustrated when you thought now you can't really go back into doing that?
Right. Not initially, because I didn't realize how bad off I was.
Right.
Right. So, usually it takes a while. Well, I mean, I was on life support and everything, so it was a fight for my life to begin with.
Right.
And, by the time I was able to speak to a doctor about the extent of my injury.
Yes.
I was already starting to become accustomed to being injured a little bit.
Right.
And, so yeah, he was pretty blunt. They usually are.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Right.
You broke your neck here and you will never walk again.
And I think they do that to protect themselves too. They can't promise. They can't say, you know what, you might be good in a couple months. That's not them to say.
But you give the worst possible news.
Scenario, right.
And, if I do end up walking again, then, I'm like, yay. But if he tells me, hey, it's a possibility you might, and I don't, hey, that could be a liability for him.
How did you feel when he said that?
Oh, man.
Do you remember?
Well,
what kind of emotions or feeling did you feel?
What pissed me off was my mom was there and I saw the look on her face and I was like, oh, that wasn't cool. But, as far as me, I guess, I was like, whatever, I'll walk whenever I walk. So you can't tell me anything.
You were still in the mindset that you're going to bounce right back after you go home and your swelling heals up and stuff like that.
Right. And then, I just got focused on, trying to do what I could do. And that helped me a lot because I didn't, focus on, the negative part of being, spinal cord injury.
Right.
I just focused on, can I open a door? Can I turn on a light switch? Little by little. And, I guess that's how I've pretty much, managed my, emotional state.
Right.
Since getting out of the hospital and getting out of rehab.
So tackling those little goals and accomplishing one at a time kind of kept your mind focused on something else, right?
Yeah, one step at a time.
Right.
Little bit after little bit.
Cool.
How about you, Boris?
Well,
My experience post trauma came about after 6 months of being in the hospital and having had antidepressants prescribed to me while I was in the hospital. During that time, I was pretty much fine. Everybody was telling me, "Man, you're in a great mood. You're great spirits."
He was high.
Well, not necessarily high as much as having, or maintaining the right levels of serotonin. Serotonin in our brain. Serotonin is, neurotransmitter. It keeps you, happy, I guess. And, after I left the hospital, I decided that I wanted to, give it a try without it. And I did. I, consulted with, my doctor and I said, well, I'd like to get off of this. I understand that these, medications are weaned off and you had to take them. I started taking less, of a dosage and blah, blah. So it took a couple of weeks, for me to get weaned off of it. And, then, I stayed without them for a few months.
Were you back home? When
yes,
that happened?
then I was back at home. Correct. Then I started getting back into a little bit of a funk. I call it a funk because that's the only way I could describe it. I didn't want to get out of my room. I didn't want to get up from bed. I like the,
you hit the wall.
Yeah.
You hit the wall.
The room dark. I will fall asleep and wake up and then eat a little bit and then go back to sleep. And, after a few months of that, I decided, man, this is not really working. I need to get back on it. And, there has been studies that indicate that, pain also increases, your, tendencies towards depression. I am in pain all the time. I feel pain all the time. I know that, to some people, that doesn't register because they see you're smiling, you're laughing, but as I speak right now, I'm in pain. So, but I'm not complaining. I mean, that's it. I'm taking it.
That was a big issue with me.
Right.
To this day, I've not spent a day without pain since my injury, but, I've, learned how to manage it. Oh, and about the antidepressants. Yeah, they sent me home on Elavil, but they had the opposite effect. When I was on Elavil, I could not freaking get up. I mean, by the time I would get up to get my day started, it was already 2 p.m.
And mentally, how did that affect you?
I just was sleepy. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about mental, but, I stopped it cold turkey and, I had a very bad day. The day I stopped it, or the day after I stopped it, was a very bad day.
In what way?
I just felt like crap. Just total crappy. But after that, I was fine.
Well, again, you're supposed to be weaned off.
Yeah.
Because, that's not good. Some serious side effects may occur if you don't do it right. So I would not recommend,
don't do what I did.
Exactly, to do that. As a matter of fact, consult with your physician if you're on antidepressant, and if you want to get off of them, do not do it on your own. Please, talk to your doctor. But there was a study, Kearns et al. 1996, and Nagumo in 2000, and Ravenscroft et al. in 2000, where they have documented that pain exacerbates depression. However, depression by yourself is one thing. Depression with family members are another, because they can all help you cope. On the other hand, when there is a spinal cord injury, there are also other casualties to your injury, and that will be, if you were married previous to your injury, then your spouse. That could be the most affected party of them all. Wives or husbands of individuals with spinal cord injuries can be severely affected by that. It has been said that even more so than the person who has the spinal cord injury.
Yeah, that's true.
There is quite a degree of resentment that can be experienced. They lash out, not
Blame.
necessarily blame, correct? Not necessarily because they don't like you or blame you, but
They don't
they're
like the
projecting
situation.
of the situation, and you are the only person that, you know,
Is there. Yeah.
is there.
Exactly.
That's why a lot of the cases of spinal cord injuries after they've been married end up in divorce. There's a compounding effect of the individual's depression, the spinal cord injury individual having depression, the depression that ensues for the spouse, and on top of that, there are other ones that also become affected, such as the parents of the individual. However, if the parents of the individuals are taking care of this person, meaning if someone who is young, the parents also could have even a greater effect on depression due to the spinal cord injury.
Right. And it could also be their lifestyle. You know what I mean? Of what kind of lifestyle they used to live. Obviously, it's going to be a lifestyle change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of a different life after you get hurt. So
yeah, that was true in my case. Total lifestyle change, total disruption.
But you know what? These studies that I was telling you, it was that pain exacerbates depression. However, another set of studies in 1999, Holicky and Charlie Fu, the authors, they found out that married individuals have less depression and greater life satisfaction, and superior psychological well-being, better perceived quality of life than those individuals with spinal cord injuries or paralyzed individuals who are not. So, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Once the depression has been dealt with and a period of curative time occurs, those individuals who remain married, they seem to do okay. Now, the ones that are married after injury are actually doing better than the ones that were married before injury, because those individuals who were, I guess, you know, that became married after the injury, the partners came into the relationship knowing what the situation is.
and accepting the total package.
Exactly. And the ones that were not, are going, wait a minute, I did not sign up for this. And I resent you for this and putting me in this situation. And any and all possible scenarios will be thrown at you, saying, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and you ruined my life, and all this stuff.
And partly of that, Boris, would you agree, is education about the injury itself? Because when the spouses, I'm sure they're doing research of the, you know, while you're in the hospital and finding out what the lifestyle is going to be. It's very important for them to team up with someone else that has a similar injury and maybe them talking about it, kind of like a support.
That would be the perfect scenario. However, some of those individuals who are so overwhelmed by the adaptation of that type of injury and the change of lifestyle.
Right.
Imagine those individuals who still have to maintain home balance with children and all the other things that go on, because life does not stop when you have a spinal cord injury.
Your job
to maintaining, you know, the normal financial status that you may have had.
Insurance, your insurance statements.
Right. Paying the bills and all this. Sometimes there's no time for that to occur. And part of the healing process, obviously, one of the stages is denial. So sometimes we deny, we're in denials. Our spouses were too. That, you know, no, you'll be okay. He's gonna walk in 6 months. At least I thought I was. And my wife, you'll be, you know, maybe it'll take a few months, but, you know, you go back to normal or whatever. So
that optimism.
Yeah, I think my wife thought the same too.
When that doesn't happen, frustration ensues, and then all those feelings are projected sometimes to the individual with the spinal cord injury. And depending on the commitment of the relationship, sometimes these relationships do not endure because of that. So We have spouses, we have parents, we have children that are involved in these type of spinal cord injuries,
And
the emotional part of it,
Affected, yep.
that are affected. Correct. Also friends, other family members and, individuals who are in your life, such as, I don't
Right.
know, neighbors and stuff. But what about you, dude? You have a more
Okay.
unique, perspective because
Yeah.
among the three of us, Richard was
Was
married
before and after.
prior to the injury, still married happily. So did I, so am
Boris,
I.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you were not married before it. So tell us a
No.
little bit about it.
Yeah, definitely. I got, as you guys well know, I was hurt, when I was 20 years old. Single guy, yeah, dating and stuff like that. No,
Dating
no,
a lot, huh?
You was a player.
well, I was just dating a lot. I'll leave it at that. But, yeah, I didn't, nobody was close to me. Maybe two of my, female friends were there for me, but, I didn't let them in. I put this barrier between me and them, and I guess it was selfish of me, but also didn't want them to go through the emotional stress and, that I was going through in rehab, all the frustration, because I guess I thought about them before I thought about myself as far as feeling, let me handle this by my own. And that led to a lot of blame. I blamed myself a lot when I was in the hospital. And my mom was next to me and she was my number one support. And she went through the emotional roller coaster ride with me. And seeing that happen, it just made me feel even worse because there was a lot of times that I was in that room crying at night. 20 years old, I felt cheated. I felt like, dude, 20 years old, I was working, just got out of high school, an athlete, and all of a sudden, boom, you hit that brick wall. And mentally, I think everyone takes it different. Bobby took it in stride. He was 16. He took it a different way. I took it harder than most. I had a lot of anger issues, and sometimes I lashed out to the people that were helping me or around me. It was nothing they were doing. It was just my frustrating issue where I couldn't become independent doing my stuff by myself.
Yeah.
Wiping your butt, cathing, going to the restroom, just that stuff, was really like jumping in and out of my chair. I couldn't do that. As a C56 quad, I needed help.
Yeah.
And, I even thought of suicide at some times and that's how
Very
bad,
common.
yes, that's how bad it got. That was the lowest point in my life. And then I got home and started winging off some of my medication. Of course, with the supervision of my doctor. I make sure I tell him, hey, doc, can I start taking a little bit less? And he kind of set me up on a winging program where little by little, I got off. When I did that and got a clear mind and I was able to move forward. For me, it took 4 years to just go out, start going out to shopping, even meeting other guys in chairs. I didn't want to see anybody. I don't want to see this guy in a chair. I'm not like him. You know what I mean? I don't want to hang around you, but then later you wise up and say, oh my God, this guy, looking back now, he was invaluable resource. And a morale boost and finding out that there is life after injury. This guy was driving, he was working, and I'm like, dude, why
Are
am
you
I?
talking about Bobby? Because
Well,
Bobby was the one that
Bobby-
did that to me, dude.
Bobby,
I was
no,
like, what?
I mean, I knew a lot of other friends before I knew Bobby. They were playing quad rugby, and I was like, whoa, this guy's driving. First time I saw a quad my level jump into a car and drive away, that just broke all my feeling sorry for myself.
know.
And I'm like, dude, why am I feeling bad? This guy just did his thing. Nobody helped him.
Like Lee.
And he took off, and I'm there with my mouth open and said, oh my God, it's possible to get my life back together.
Yeah.
So after that 4th year, I was like, okay, I got to start doing something. So gradually started going out, talking to people, trying to get back into the workforce. Because mentally I was a mess, the first 3 years.
Took me 4 years too.
Right? 4 years?
For me, it was, Jesse. Jesse, was, I guess he's still one of the volunteers that goes to Casa Colina.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse Murillo?
Maria, yeah.
Oh, good
Jesse-
friend of mine and former coworker actually back in the day.
He used to go to, Casa Colina and, once a month, do a peer counseling program. And I remember not wanting to go to the classes to when he was there, you know, and I distinctly remember telling him, I don't need to be here, Jesse, because I'm going to walk. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to walk.
I've heard that so many times.
I don't need
with new injuries.
And he said, listen, if and when you walk, it's okay. But in between that time, now and that time, you need to be able to be prepared and listen to some of the experiences that we or I have gone through. So 4 years, as you said, I did not want to come out, did not want to relate with anybody in a wheelchair, all those things that you said too. And then once I was ready, I started, seeing other people doing this stuff, and I met Bobby Rohan. I saw him I joined the gym down at Goodwill Fitness, and then I saw him on one of the monthly publications. He's in the machine.
Oh, yeah,
blah,
that's
blah, blah.
right.
And I'm like, dude, I got to do that. And then he invited me to go to the Ralph Riders Foundation thing, and that was breakthrough. Because then I saw you guys. I think I saw you.
Yeah.
And Maria was there, and then there were a whole bunch of other people, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a whole bunch of people like me. And all of a sudden, I felt like, yes, I can do this again. And then one thing led to the next, and the next other, and blah, blah, and then we're all together now.
I think we met at a poker
yes, we
tournament.
did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Poker tournament at Bobby.
And I took all your chips.
About Bobby Rohan's. Yeah. Because I was drunk and you stole them. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
Good time.
No, it was about Bobby, Rohan's, home. And then we went to, who is it? Bobby Rohan's dad.
Yes.
And we were there too.
Together, yeah.
And then Bobby took all your chips.
Oh,
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, he did.
He cleaned house.
Goodness.
Anyways.
That's right. So yeah, I mean, those are different type of things that we had to deal with, and just giving our audience a little bit of insight and perspective on what we had to go through.
It seems to be the same
Similar.
in many ways.
Yeah.
Similar in many ways
And
to all of us.
There's one thing I think it's important to mention. Some people do walk.
Yeah,
I was
true.
when I was at Rancho going through my therapy, there was a guy there. He used to be a professional boxer, and he was a C4.
Wow.
I mean, sip, puff, everything.
Yeah.
One night, or one day I came into the workout room, and he's on a walker.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're kidding me. What happened?
So the topic of that story is don't put all your chips in thinking that when you go on. Always go 50-50 in case it doesn't happen.
Right.
Your mental state.
So
is
we're not saying nobody will ever walk. I'm just trying to say
there's a slim chance.
Everybody's different. Some people will walk, some people don't. We don't know why. One person walks and one person doesn't, but
okay.
That's just life.
It's true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, it's how you bounce back when stuff doesn't happen. This is how you're going to get ahead, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, man, this was a good topic that we didn't tap into, and I'm sure we can do another program on it and get more in depth because, I mean, emotions. We're made of emotions, and our family go along with for the ride, and our close friends kind of shy away or don't come around as much, and then we got to find a new set of friends. So all those adjustments emotionally are very important. So we want to thank Sally Griffin again. Thank you, Sally, for suggesting the topic. It was something good that we needed to kind of share with you guys, and maybe next time we'll have a female to give her point of view and perspective on the topic, because females have a different perspective, or maybe not, but it'd be nice to get someone in to share that stuff. So in closing, we'll let Rich, you want to let people know where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us at Club Pushroom. That's our YouTube channel, Club Pushroom.
And on our social media channel, pushroom.com.
That's right. Check us.
Listen, before I go, today's website of the day is appalachia.com. Apparalyzed. APPARELYZED.com.
Yeah, and you could do a search in there for family and spinal cord injury, and similar topics that we discussed today will be there.
Yes.
So in that we close, and we want to thank everyone for tuning in, and check us out on iTunes. Just type in PushRim, and you could tap into our podcast and take us on the go.
All right.
Yes.
In that we want to just say thank our audience, and catch you on our next show.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you. All right. Peace out.
All right, guys. Peace out.